You see them buzzing around your garden. Maybe you even shoo them away from a picnic. But these tiny little creatures, they're some of the most important contributors to, well, life on Earth. So today, we're going to dive into just how much we really depend on these tiny guardians, the bees. Okay, let's start with something super personal, your plate. I mean, think about your last meal, that apple, those almonds, maybe the coffee you had this morning. It turns out that 1 out of every 3 bites of food we eat is only possible because of pollinators, and bees are the absolute champions of that work. It's an incredible, direct connection we all share with them. All right, Section 1, let's dig into how these insects became such a huge, but often seriously underappreciated, part of our world. And this quote really just nails it. They're not just in the ecosystem, they are literally the pillars holding so much of it up. Their work supports not just wild habitats, but the entire structure of modern farming as we know it. And this brings us to a fascinating idea, the bee paradox. See, on one hand, they're just tiny, easily overlooked insects, right? But on the other, their collective impact is absolutely monumental. We're talking about underpinning global food security and the health of just about every ecosystem on land. But here's the thing. Those pillars are shaking. They're under attack. It's this perfect storm of human activities, clearing land, using pesticides, a changing climate, plus the spread of diseases, and it's all threatening bee populations everywhere. What's really wild is that bees act as these vital bioindicators. Basically, their health is a direct reflection of the environment's health. So when bee populations start to decline, it's not just a bee problem. It's a massive warning sign of a much deeper issue that, believe me, affects every single one of us. So let's actually put some hard numbers on their contribution. Welcome to Section 2, the billion-dollar buzz. It's such a simple question, right? But the answer is just staggering. It's easy to talk about how important they are, but when you actually put a dollar figure on it, the scale of what they do becomes impossible to ignore. Just look at this. It really visualizes how dependent we are. A massive 75%, that's 3/4, of the world's biggest food crops rely on animal pollination, and yep, bees do most of that heavy lifting. This covers so many of the fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds that are the foundation of a healthy diet. And here it is, the headline number. The annual global economic value of the work that bees do, for free, by the way, is estimated to be as high as $577 billion. To put that into perspective, that's more than the entire economy of many countries, all generated by tiny insects doing something we just can't replicate at that scale. And to bring that huge global number down to earth, just look at the bar for the United States. Here alone, bees contribute over $20 billion to the agricultural economy every single year. It's a massive economic engine, and it's all powered by wings. And their value goes way, way beyond the farm. Bees are the main pollinators for over 87% of all flowering plants on the planet. That work is what keeps our forests, our wetlands, and our grasslands healthy. The very ecosystems that give us clean air and water. So, this naturally leads us to a pretty sobering thought. What would actually happen if they were gone? In this section, let's explore the frightening reality of a world without bees. What you have to understand is that this isn't just a single event. It's a catastrophic chain reaction. The first domino is bee populations falling. The next is crop production plummeting. Then plant diversity collapses. And because so many other animals rely on those plants, the entire food web just starts to unravel. This slide right here illustrates the stakes perfectly. Take the $10 billion California almond industry. It's 100%, 100% dependent on bee pollination. Millions of hives have to be physically trucked in every year just for the harvest. Without bees, that industry doesn't just get smaller, it disappears. So how in the world can these tiny little creatures pull all this off? Well, the answer is in this concept of the superorganism. A hive isn't just a bunch of individual bees. It operates as a single, incredibly coordinated unit. And it's that collective intelligence and efficiency that lets them pull off these enormous world-shaping tasks. Okay, for our final section, let's bring this all back home. Because the simple truth is, our fates and theirs are completely tangled up together. This table lays out exactly what's on the line for us. We're talking about our food security, with over 90 major crops at risk. We're talking about economic stability, with billions of dollars and millions of jobs hanging in the balance. And we're talking about the fundamental health of the ecosystems that give us the basics, like clean air and clean water. And look, this isn't some far-off, maybe in the future problem. It is happening right now. In the US, beekeepers are losing 30 to 40% of their colonies every single year. That rate of loss, it's just not sustainable. If you take away just one thing from all of this, let it be this simple idea right here. Our survival is linked to theirs. Protecting bees isn't just about being an environmentalist, it's literally an act of self-preservation. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. For centuries, these tiny guardians have been one of the pillars of our world, quietly holding it all up. If we allow them to disappear, who or what is going to take their place?